Dear devotees, again we are having a golden chance to understand the mind and as well as spiritual science. First thing in spirituality is required is to understanding. And to understand anything, you have to first listen and then to, comprehend it and think over it. So unless and until we do that, we'll not be successful in spirituality. So listening is also important, as well as contemplating on that is equally important. And main thing is to understand the mind. It's the most complex thing, as I've said again and again. And so if we are to live a successful and a peaceful life, we have to understand the mind as well as make the mind our servant. There are two options before us: either to make the mind our servant or to become servant of the mind. If we become the servant of the mind, it will take us to hell. If we could make mind our servant, we will be in peace and happiness. Mind says, "Oh man, you control me. If you could control me, I'll take you to the gate of salvation, gate to the abode of liberation. I can take you up to that gate." Of course, it can't make us enter the gate. Entering the gate comes through the grace of the spiritual master. But the mind says, if you could control me, I have the capacity to take you up to the gate of the salvation. If we talk in a yoga way, up to the Sahasrara Kamal, up to the final chakra, it can take us. And it says, if you could leave me free, if you could make me free, I'll take you to hell. So friends, it is upon us. We can't blame God. We can't blame the society. We can't blame our luck. Some people say, "Oh, I'm suffering because of my luck." It's not so, Sajano. Present deeds are more important than your past life deeds. We can change our luck. We can change our fortune through good works in this life. And it is possible. That's why human body is such a body in which we are free to do karmas. So we can make our life heavenly, and we can make our life suffering as in hell. It's upon us. It is up to us. And so in this project, whether to be suffering like in a hell or to enjoy like in a heaven, the main factor is the mind. Make the mind free and do as per the mind says. It will take us to hell. And if you could control this mind, of course, it requires a strong determination. But if you could control the mind, it will take us to the final abode from where the soul doesn't return. That's what Lord Krishna says. "Na tad vaste suryo na sasanko na pavaka yad gatva na nivartante tad dham paramam mam." Oh Arjuna, there is such a place where there is neither the light of the sun, nor of the moon, nor of the fire, nor electric. There is a self-effulgent light. And that's my final abode. And if somebody reaches there, he doesn't return. That's the final achievement, final attainment. And that abode, the final abode, to reach that place, the main thing is control of the mind. And science has created brakes for everything. We've got brake for a cycle, we've got brake for a car, we've brake for an aeroplane, we've got brake for a submarine, we've got brake even for a rocket. But science has no brake for the mind. And you know, the speed of the mind is the greatest of everything in the world except the holy name. Is the fastest thing. None of even the supersonic rockets, whatever has been created by science, cannot match the speed of the mind. That's what the Yaksha asked Yudhishthira, what is the fastest thing in the world? Yudhishthira says, the elder brother of the Pandavas, this is the mind. Nothing can compare the speed of the mind. And so we are trying to control the mind through these physical things. Their speed can never match the speed of the mind. Suppose you are seeing a picture, a very beautiful picture. And in the first instance you will say, oh, what a beautiful picture he has created. But if you keep on looking that picture, gazing that picture, after some time, what will happen? You will start finding some defects in that. When your mental vibration crosses the vibration of the artist who created that picture, you will start finding some lacuna in that picture. Oh, this color should have been like that. This angle should have been like that. So many defects you will start finding it. Your mind crossed the vibration of the artist. And in this way, the mind can cross any vibration of the worldly things. Vibration of the mantras, vibration of the books, vibration of anything in the world. Mind can easily cross that vibration. It becomes more faster than that. So how can we control the mind? Nothing in the world, nothing physical can control the mind. And for that controlling the mind, we need something metaphysical, and that metaphysical entity should be more faster than the mind. Its speed should be more than the mind. Suppose a car is running and we want to catch that car, and we are also driving a car. If the speed of our car is lesser than that of the car which we want to catch, can we ever catch that car? Can we ever reach up to that car? We can reach up to that car only when speed of our car is greater than that of the car which is running before us. Similarly, to control the mind which is running here and there, we need something which is more powerful and which is more faster than the mind. Previously we used to think bigger thing as more powerful. Now science has proved anything which is more smaller is more powerful, it has more energy. And so the thing which can control the mind, so it is even smaller than the mind. Say, what is that thing? I tell you a small story in the Upanishads. Previously, the king used to bring all the gurus under one roof and decide who is the enlightened one. Nowadays, every spiritual master, every so-called spiritual teachers, they call themselves to be the enlightened. And after some days or some years, they are exposed. People follow them like blind, really follow just like sheep, you know. But it's dangerous to follow a master unless he is an enlightened one. He will ruin out this life also and the next life also. So we have to be very cautious, very careful while deciding, choosing a spiritual master, accepting a spiritual master. Because now the government is not doing that work. Previously, the kings used to do that work for the society, for the general public. What they used to do, call all the gurus at one place and decide who is the supreme one, who is the enlightened one. Just like, when Olympic Games are organized, and in those Olympic Games, whether it is fighting, whether it is wrestling, whether it is tennis, when all top players of the world gather at one place, and then a decision comes who is the champion of all of them. Similarly, previously, the king used to get all the guru gather at one place and decide who is the enlightened one. So, in the same way, King Janak called all the gurus at one place, and he kept 1,000 cows, because during that period, cow was the money. There was no like this money, now we have got this money. People used to barter, change things. So cow was one of the biggest asset of that time. And another thing was gold. So what he did, he collected 1,000 cows and fitted them with gold in the top and in the bottom, and called all the gurus and said, the one who is enlightened out of you can take all the cows, take all this money. Big money. Everyone wanted to take, but if one single would have been there, he would have said, yes, I am the enlightened one, I'll take it. But there was a march, all the gurus, the top spiritual people gathering at one place. How could they say that, yes, I am the one? Everybody kept silent, looking at each other. No one could dare to take those cows. After some time, when nobody dared to claim them, there was a saint, a sage named Yagbalkar. He said to his disciples, oh, what a golden chance. The king is giving 1,000 cows. Come on, devotees, let's take this couch. When he said that, all the other gurus stood up, said, how you are enlightened? How can you prove that? He said, come on, you ask. You put your questions, you put your doubts, I'll clear it. And one by one, he cleared all of them. Finally, there was a lady saint. Her name was Gargi. She stood up. She was one of the most respected and most talented and the most learned of all those who was gathered. They had a special respect for her. She stood up and she said, Maharshi, I'll have some questions. I have some questions. If you could satisfy me, I'll declare that you are the greatest one, and then you can take all these cows and gold. Yagbalkar said, okay, you put your question. Friends, it's a very beautiful story. And so, with this, we will be able to understand a lot about the power which is the greatest one and which is the subtlest one also. Most subtle than all the things of the world. She asked, what contains this earth? Simple question was that, and even a science person can answer. Earth is contained by water. Around the earth there is water. So water is containing the earth. Surprising, A gross thing is being contained by a subtle thing. Earth is gross, water is subtle. Solid is being contained by liquid. So anyway, that answer was correct. There are many programs, coach. Questions are put, and the one who answers all the questions is prized. He gets prizes. Second question she put, what contains the earth and the water? He said the atmosphere. Because around earth is water and around earth and water is the atmosphere. So earth and water is contained by atmosphere. And you see, we are going to the subtle. Water is subtler than the earth, and air is subtler than the water and the earth. Then she puts another question. What contains the earth, the water and the air? Yagnvalkya says, he said, it is the great sky, the ether, which contains even the air, the water and the earth. You see, we are going slowly to the more minute thing, more subtler things. Now, up to this, even a science can answer, because these are physical things. Now she puts a very, very important question, and the question, the answer we have to understand. She says, what contains the earth, the water, the atmosphere, even this great sky? What contains it? In what is this great sky also contained? No one can answer this question. If you ask any astronomer or any scientist, any one of the world, nobody has the answer to this question. What contains this great sky? What contains the whole universe? In which the universe contains the air, the ether, the water, the earth, everything. But what contains the universe? In what is the universe contained? Here comes something metaphysical. I am using the word metaphysical, friends, because this word you must understand. Unless you understand the word metaphysical, you can be cheated, you can be deceived by the so-called these decorative speech giving masters. They will give decorative speeches and you will be impressed by that and will start following that. You may not be an enlightened one. And then all life is ruined, is destroyed. This whole life goes, human life, such a golden chance, goes in vain. So that entity is metaphysical. And Yagnvalkya gives the answer. The whole universe, including the earth, the water, the atmosphere, is contained in the holy word, Akshar Brahma. Surprising answer. Holy word, the true name of God, contains everything of the world, the primordial vibration. The whole universe is contained in the primordial vibration. Then Gargi puts another question. What is that primordial vibration? Oh Maharishi, oh sage, what is that primordial vibration? Tell me. Yagnvalkya says, Gargi, I thought you are a wise person. But now I come to know that you are a fool. In such a big gathering, such a talented intellectual lady like Gargi was called as fool by the sage. Everybody was dumbstruck. What is he saying to such a great lady? But Gargi didn't get annoyed. She said, Maharishi, how are you saying that? That I am a fool. My question is a foolish question. Friends, we have to understand this secrecy. He says, Gargi, you are speaking, I am answering. You are asking, I am answering. All these words, you listen, I am listening to you, you are listening to me. How? Because of the help of the air. If the air molecules are not present, I will not be able to listen what you are saying, and you will not be able to listen what I am speaking. air molecules, through the air molecules, the vibration passes on, our vocal cords vibrate, that vibration goes to the air molecules, and that vibration goes to the eardrum of the listener, and he listens. So, the air must be present to speak, to listen. Now that air is already finished in the great sky. And that great sky is also finished, is contained in that holy word. How are you asking me about that word through the mouth, where air is required? So if you are not a fool, then how can I call you a wise person? Gargi understood. She said, Maharishi, you are right, I am wrong. That word is so subtle that it's beyond air, beyond even the ether and the great sky. Then Maharishi, how could I experience that word? How could I know that word? The holy word which contains the whole universe. He said, that is metaphysical experience. I can make you experience that holy word within you. That holy word is the cause of even an atom, the electrons, which is making the electrons revolve around the nucleus. Because of that holy word, because of that primordial vibration, all the, these planets are moving around the sun. Even because of that primordial vibration, there is, expansion and contraction of the universe. Just like the expansion and contraction of our lungs, the universe is also expanding and contracting. All this is happening due to that word, due to that vibration. And because the same vibration is within you, that primordial vibration, that holy word, I can reveal that word, I can make you experience that metaphysical word. I am again using the word metaphysical. Many times I get questions from some listeners. Tell me, what is the name of God? So friends, how could I answer it? When it is beyond words, beyond vocabulary, beyond language, beyond brain, beyond senses, how could through the mouth we can speak that word? That word is inexpressible, beyond language, beyond expression. That's why it has been called as holy word. Holy means something you can't make it dirty through the tongue. So that holy word contains the whole universe, and that is the fastest thing. And that holy word is, because it's the most subtlest thing, it is subtle than even the mind. And it's because it is subtler than the mind, it can control the mind. It is more powerful than the mind. And when we experience that holy word and connect the mind with the holy word, definitely this mind will be controlled. Friend, this is a fact of life. This is a reality. This is a absolute truth. It can never be changed. If you have to control the mind, only there is one thing, and that's the name of God, the holy name, the true name, the holy word, whatever physically word you use for that. These expressions are qualitative. If I say holy word, that is not the name. If I say true name, that's not that name. If I say primordial vibration, these are just quality attributes of that holy word, just to make us understand that holy name. In Hindu scripture, they call it Om. Om is also a definition of that holy name. Om is not the holy name. Many people get confused with this thing, that Om is the holy name. And if I say this is not a holy name, somebody may dislike my argument. But friends, please believe me, this is the truth. That holy name is beyond Om. And that's why some saints call it Omkar. Omkar doesn't mean Om. Omkar means the one through which Om was created. The creator of Om, the creator of Om is called Omkar. Omkar doesn't mean Om. And people give wrong interpretation of the books also. In Gita it is written Om iti ekaksha Brahma. Please listen carefully. Om iti ekaksha Brahma. Om iti means where Om is the end. There is an end of Om also. That one word is the holy name. And what the people have translated it, Om is the holy word. They have, they have hid the word iti. Iti means ending, finishing. Where even the Om is finished, that place is the holy word. And actually, that's why in language it is said we speak through the three systems. One from the diaphragm, one from the throat, and one from the lips. All the language that we speak are through these three factors: the lips, the throat, and the diaphragm. So these three speeches are called as Bekhari Madhyamar Pashanti in Hindi scriptures. Means these are the three languages through which we express the world. Talk about the world, talk about everything of the world. Different languages are created just through these three things. So these are called physical speeches. Physical speech comes through these three factors. But spirituality says there is something metaphysical speech also. Beyond these three speeches of the lips, of the throat, and of the diaphragm, beyond these three, there is a fourth speech. And they call it Paravani, the metaphysical speech. And that speech is the metaphysical speech in which there is the holy word. So to understand the holy word, as I was saying that to understand the holy name, to understand the mind is a very, very important thing. Even more important than to understand the mind is the holy name through which we can control the mind. So now, since the time is about to end, we are going to finish today's program. One information I want to give to all of you, it's very important. From tomorrow, the live program will not be on this page, the Manav Dharma page. It will be on my personal page, Dr. J.P. Agarwal. I'll be putting the Facebook, that of the page also. You can get it from here also. And from tomorrow, the Hindi program and the English program will be having on that page. Timing will be same, 1:30 to 2 of Hindi and 7:30 to 8 Indian time of the English program. So because many listeners, many audience, devotees may not know about this, so I request to all of you, please share this information that from tomorrow the program, this live program will not be on this Manav Dharma page, but on the page with the name Dr. J.P. Agarwal. So you are all welcome to join that link from tomorrow for the Hindi program also, for the English program also. And so please share this information so that many who are listening this program, they may not be upset, they may not be disappointed tomorrow. Oh, we are not getting the program. They might click this Manav Dharma page, and when they don't get the program, they will think the program is finished, so what has happened? So let the in priority this prior information be given to them, that from tomorrow on a different page this program will be had. And so on that page, that's my personal page, of course, Dr. J.P. Agarwal. On that page, 1:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Hindi program and 7:30 to 8 p.m. English program. We will be having in that page. You are all cordially invited to join that link from tomorrow, and we'll continue this series of Mind the Middleman, because to understand the mind and to understand the holy name, People say spirituality is complex, complicated. Friends, it is not that. Very, very easy. Once we understand the function of the mind and once we understand the holy name, it's finished. Then what you have to do? Just to practice. Once we get the medicine, we start taking the medicine and keep diet control, we will be cured. So the disease of the mental disease that we are having, actually in this present society, the most dangerous disease is the mental diseases, in which we get stress, depression, so many things. And because of the mental problems, physical problems come. So to cure the mental of all the diseases is the holy name. So let's understand the mind and the holy name. Mind is the middleman between we and God. Once we understand the mind and make it zero, we will be one with God, and that is our final destination. That is our final goal, aim of human life. Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much. Meet tomorrow at the same time, but on a different page. Thank you.